is pretty aggressive here. A roll-up, is one of Canada's most recognized marketing campaigns. The question is, why is Tim Hortons bringing it back now? Robert Carter, food service expert at the Stratton Hunter Group, thinks he knows. Take a listen.
When the pandemic hit, we didn't see a decline in overall coffee consumption, but we obviously saw a dramatic shift from out of home.
If I got $2 and you're giving it to me, I'm going to hit you with $2.
Become long-term behavior.
I'm going to hit you with $2 for making myself.
Back out of home into the cafes and coffee shops. So I think this is another example of Tim Hortons condition.
You're not talking about coffee, you're talking about the coffee retail industry.
It's the life that I live, man. That's what PG. Yeah. I speak what I fucking want, I say what I fucking want, Yo, my blood type is straight, kill a nigga running this house. Kidnap a faggot ass nigga who be running his mouth. It's the 7th letter, LOC, and the 11th letter. My twin and arm, we stay in your lane if you know it's better. Can't change cause I'm stuck on some hot shit. Try fly past in your car, we shoot the glass cockpit. Then run up on you, see who you are, and leave you stretched out on the concrete like you hugging the floor. I'm a thug nigga, hair still nappy, hands still baggy, and keep it sharp in case niggas try to get at me. Fuck I look like, shooting fair ones and fist fighting. I smoke too many cigarettes, nigga, I'd rather light him. Cause I ain't got the lungs for that sweaty shit. I'm gonna slap down your bitch on some petty shit. Real talk, ain't with the back and forth shit, I let my skill talk. Fully loaded whip, battleship like it's Bismarck. Lock you done, did it again. Fuck a one shot, you know me, I'd rather hit you and your friend. For that slick talk, you gotta get it 2 times more. Nah, I'll rep the 6, this ain't 2 plus 4. And I'm all about the war, cause revenge will be so sweet. On the streets with the street sweep against you so sweet. One thing is skull, motherfuckers make it dome leak. 30 on their hips, through the sweater, see the pulse beat. Cops on your body in the bushes cause you're cold street. You niggas already know who I am. Feeling like Deuce, man, how I don't got plans. We the type to just hop at the van. Got enough in the clip to hit you and your man. Yeah.
Vote anyone but Trudeau. A message from the National Citizens Coalition.
Wow. Sunshine in downtown Toronto, 25 degrees. The News Watch never stops. 680 News, a CFTR AM Toronto. It's 5 o'clock.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News. It's Tuesday, September 7th. I'm James Monroe.
I'm Sljana Tivin. Secure the top stories right now.
As students return to in-person learning, Ontario's top doctor is assuring parents that they've done everything they can to keep kids safe and that schools remain a low-risk environment for the spread of COVID-19.
That was a good first day back in class.
They're excited. I'm excited. A little bit of normality is nice.
We're speaking with parents and kids in Halton region.
I still don't know the numbers.
Severe thunderstorm watch out for the GTHA. Much of southern Ontario, wild weather coming off Lake Huron, making its way toward the city. There are even tornado warnings out for some areas. Full traffic and weather in seconds.
Leylah Fernandez now 1 game away from reaching the U.S. Open semifinals, and no George Springer tonight with the Blue Jays.
I'm noticing a serious lack of information in the news today.
Still not seeing eye to eye. We have the latest on optometrists not conducting OHIP.
News at 5 o'clock.
Good afternoon. I'm Danny Longo. It's sunny and 24 degrees. While parents of elementary and high school students are excited to get their child back into the classrooms, they aren't the only ones. Post-secondary students were in school today, many getting their bearings and sorting out college or university, some for the first time. Global's Dave Woodard has that story.
Going in person is kind of jarring.
We've done this to us before, but they won't tell us the
dental
numbers.
hygienist student at George Brown, but she says at the same time it felt a little like pre-pandemic days.
It kind of felt normal again because obviously I prefer in-learning better than online.
But at least this semester, only 2 of her courses are in person. Tiffany says she hopes that's not the way things go for next year.
Imagine doing everything online and then graduating and not actually knowing how to operate on someone's mouth.
George Brown is one of several colleges in the province that has split up its semesters for a combination of online and in-person classes.
I gotta let you mess with my mouth when you don't know
George Brown
anything
campus,
before
you'll need to be
about it.
vaccinated or have a negative COVID-19 test. Dave Woodard, Global News.
Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore, is urging parents to screen their children for COVID-19 every day before sending them to school. Symptoms include a fever or chills, a new or worsening
we know
cough,
all the
shortness of
symptoms
breath,
by now.
nausea or vomiting, or a loss of taste or smell.
If your child is
And diarrhea. Don't forget diarrhea and compulsive toilet paper.
School in person, should self-isolate immediately and seek testing as soon as possible.
And Dr. Moore says we're expecting to hear some details on vaccines for kids under 12 late this year. Now, despite the fourth wave with the new Delta variant, the head of infectious disease at McMaster Children's Hospital supports the return to class for students across the province. Dr. Jeff Pernica tells Global News Radio that there are
already because of COVID-19 protocols, but starting today, fully vaccinated foreign nationals are now allowed to visit Canada.
Young with the forecast, Natasha Ramzahai.
We are looking at these severe storms in through Grey Bruce with tornado warnings in place for Hanover, Wingham, Saugeen Shores, Owens Sound, Blue Mountain. These storms have rotation in them. We have ground verified reports.
You said tornadoes
on the ground to the northwest. And the storms will weaken as they head towards Toronto. They should get here, at least the rainfall starting in about three and a half hours. And it's going to be rain, but I think the winds are the biggest deal for Toronto. So make sure anything loose is batten down the hatches, really is what I'm saying. And then overnight, a couple more rounds of storms tapering off around 7 in the morning. We'll wake up to 18
how many
degrees
people
in the afternoon,
got
partly
fucking
cloudy,
sick
26
today?
degrees, and a couple of isolated, non-severe pop-up showers are possible.
Or yesterday?
Tonight down to 18 degrees. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch in Toronto. It's currently 25 degrees at Pearson. 6 City News Time, 5:04.
Well, as students begin to return to the class, Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health insists that schools remain a low-risk environment for the spread of COVID, even in the face of the Delta.
6 City's Phil Martino joins us with the latest from today's provincial update. Phil.
So, Jenna, Dr. Kieran Moore says federal data shows 87% of the time when a child got COVID, the virus spread within the social circumstances, like in the home. And only 7% of the time was the school the source for the infection. He also says he's confident that the school environment itself is safe, even with kids under 11 unvaccinated and the Delta variant circulating.
And parents, we all have to be very cautious of our after-school activities. The more contacts we have when you have COVID-19 in your community, the higher the risk that your child is going to get the infection or illness.
So
Ontario's top doctor
the message is don't have kids.
And the investments made in this province for schools like ventilation improvements will reduce the risk of COVID-19, but not eliminate the risk because the Delta is highly transmissible. The Ministry of Education has sent guidelines to schools which include requirements that staff and students.
They already said statistically there's more side effects from the vaccine than the chances of a young child.
So some students in Halton Region went back to school today. Toronto, York, Peel, and Durham will make them.
One of the recordings we caught, he's I think he's a vaccinologist or a virologist or epidemiologist. I forget which one. He's one of those. And he said he disagrees with rolling out the vaccine for people under 18 because the known side effects statistically would be worse than what the potential outcome from COVID would be for people under 18. But they're not going to die from it. There's no point, but they might die from the other thing. There's no point doing it. We already got told that by these guys. They didn't give us the numbers. So yesterday was a holiday. They're not going to tell us until today. They didn't tell us today. Still didn't tell us.
The Halton Region Board is one of the few GT.
Je ne crois pas non plus qu'une arme de poing sert à chasser l'orignal ou qu'une arme d'assaut.
Canadian teenager Layla Annie Fernandez is looking to continue her magical run at the U.S. Open. She's on court.
They're not going to. I need this joint in me because I'm getting upset here. I don't remember where I got that, but I've had that for a long time on a USB drive. I can't. I've been listening to that song for 25 years. This will work.
So, welcome to my block where I'm looking at a new face, a screw face, or any little nigga trying to move one. Have a nigga leaking on the palm of court sidewalk, down from one shot, but you still catching all of them my walk with the strap, cause the envy me. Fuck a loop, you know I got the strap holding up the jeans.
So there's a storm watch for the entire GTA for thunderstorms. And I don't know if you, wow, it's just glowing in the dark. Well, it's not dark. I don't know if you can see how clear and bright, you can deduce how clear and bright the sky is. This John Oakley show has a number of angry callers. We'll get to it in a second.
My head to fly is fitted like the breeze. Take it off, my head to fly is fitted like the breeze. So, more times I'm on the dolo sleep. I crack the strap and reminisce on beats when I'm loading it. I'll let it rip on you when the man you rolling with. And no trap hard to wrap up in the sheets with your bitch. But I ain't got time for hope, I got the beds on my dick. I'm trying to take them off, but they popping up like a zip. Fuck my past beef and robberies. I swear I see the cops taking pictures from across the street. And I'll be waiting for this nigga on his birthday. For the cake, I'll blow his like, yo, nigga's Earth Day. It's hard to beat with these niggas, don't get shot and make a statement. You screaming top 5 until your face against the pavement. Cause now me and my niggas ain't chasing ratings. I'll put the pump to protect and blow away this waste kid. Same shit every day, but this is the worst case, no remorse. You shouldn't have piped up in the first place. Give you a couple dollars and not slice you in the
instead of, what did he say? Everybody watching things burn. I thought that might have been a little
Justin Trudeau on the right side of compelled vaccination.
And topics worthy of discussion, of which there are many, with Aaron O'Toole, who, as I said, leads the Conservative Party of Canada, hoping to
2 years ago, when I first heard about this COVID thing in December, I said, this is going to be big, and I cursed us all. I had no idea. I had no idea. I didn't know. I wouldn't.
Things are well, John. Thanks for having me on.
Hi, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, I guess you got a lot of places to be and people to talk to.
Ask this guy how many people got sick. See, I'm still up.
I was just musing aloud to my producer how back in the day, when your father was in the legislature here in Ontario, they invited me out to skate with them with the legislators against the people from the Quebec Assembly back in the day when he was playing hockey with the Morley.
I knew he was going to say that. I would have turned it down. I'm so sorry. Were you a hockey player as a kid yourself?
I played for the Bowmanville Toros out in the suburbs. I was a better swimmer, and eventually I concentrated on that. But
I don't give a fuck about that. Talk politics.
On those teams. I was living out, I think, in Winnipeg in the Air Force. But he was quite a hockey player in his day in Peterborough.
I do remember. By the way, when you were in the Air Force, because a lot of people maybe not familiar, you did what, 13 years training helicopter pilots?
I did 12 years in total. That included some of my years at military college, where I got my commission as an officer, and then I worked a bit of search and rescue in Trenton, got my wings in Winnipeg, and then flew on Sea King helicopters as a navigator based out of Halifax on the East Coast.
You really won the lottery living this long, eh?
So the best part of being in the military, John, I got to see this amazing country and serve alongside some incredible women and men from all backgrounds. It deepened my love for the country. But once I got done law school, we moved back to Ontario, where I grew up, and I'm proud to represent my hometown in Toronto.
I don't need to see it.
It's interesting because militarily we used to punch above our weight, and now you're talking about, again, meeting our NATO commitment of 2% GDP. Why is that important to do?
Canada First Defense strategy.
Canada should meet our international commitments. Both have a plan to meet our NATO one. We should have a plan to meet our Paris emission targets as well. I think when Canada signs on to something, we need to be that dependable partner, and I don't think Mr. Trudeau has been to our allies on China and a range of issues. I also think our military
thinking of China sending out their fast attack boats and Russia taking out their ICBMs a few months ago.
We always have a smaller military.
They won't talk about that.
Belligerent country, but my goodness, when we're asked to step up from Vimy Ridge right to Kandahar, our men and women have always shown remarkable courage, and I would be the first veteran to become Prime Minister since Lester Pearson. The military and the veterans will always have a special part of my time in politics, because I want to make sure we stand up for them.
Again, with Aaron O'Toole, you mentioned China, because I know you take a hardcore position on China as well. Not mincing any words.
Hey, weren't the Conservatives in power when the Canada First defense strategy got ignored?
Participate in the Beijing Olympics come the winter. I mean, there's a lot of talk. Everybody wants to see the hockey team and so on and so forth. But given the context of what's happening there with the Uyghurs and the two Michaels, there's no closer to coming home. It's 1,000 days now and counting. What's your position on that?
I've been calling for some time for us to work with our allies to try and even move the games. You know,
we don't have the military to have any sway with China.
We should not reward countries that have horrific human rights records with hosting a coming together of nations. And so,
but on the other hand, they're the number one contributor in dollars and human power to the United Nations.
The following is a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System.
Let me guess, there's a storm warning? Because they already told us. It'll be on every fucking station.
At 5:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time Tuesday, Environment Canada has updated a tornado warning for southwestern Ontario. Extra care and attention should be exercised. The following localities are included in the warning: Mount Forest, Arthur, Northern Wellington County, Grey County, and Bruce County. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a severe thunderstorm that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail, and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
That was a message from the Canadian National Public Alerting System. Now, back to our regular programming.
I was wondering who was put it out.
Just had a discussion before you joined us about, you know,
and these guys won't even know that went off
to ramp up seriously. Wages are a problem. A lot of people can't find workers, in the trades, construction, in retail, and so on and so forth. Hospitality and tourism as well. You're projecting 3% growth, and you think we're going to have a comeback here. I mean, but a lot of people are competing with the government right now in the subsidies. How are you going to ensure that we can actually get ourselves back up to a vibrant economy and get everybody back working again, and, you know, tackling inflation at the same time?
Apparently.
Well, because we've got a plan to do that, and I launched it on day one, first full day of the campaign, John, Canada's Recovery Plan. We need to get the country working again and help those highly impacted sectors, especially all the services and hospitality jobs in Toronto. They've had a rough go. So we're going to help them. We're going to have Saving Main Street set of loans and programs. We're also going to transition off of relying on government to relying on jobs. And we're going to give working Canadians a $1 per hour raise by doubling the workers' benefit. We're going to really help pivot away from dependence to jobs and opportunity. And I think with that, we can also get the cost of living under control. We've got an amazing plan to make housing more affordable by banning foreign non-resident purchases, helping with first-time home buyers, supplying more federal lands to help with the supply, and pushing our investments in transit to lead to better density, more homes. And our GST holiday in December is about giving people a break. Families need a break with the cost of everything going up. And the one area we've got major investments is our public healthcare system. We're going to make 6% increase per year. Mr. Trudeau was running $100 billion in debt before COVID, John, and we can't afford more of the same with Mr. Trudeau's reckless spending.
But you know, the criticism of the Canada Recovery Act, and I mean, I know you wave around the pamphlet and all the things that you cited are in there, but they're saying that you haven't costed this
after we're all homeless and everything falls apart because there's nobody maintaining it and everything. That's when they'll bring out this UBI, and it'll be like a worthless amount of money. It won't be enough to do it.
Imminently any day now?
We'll get it, but it'll be like it's Canada.
Very soon. And here's the catch here, John. Mr. Trudeau set these rules. So the parliamentary budget officer, even though we had a plan and we had rough costing that we're pretty confident in.
What about the weed charity scandal?
Until an election was called. Mr. Trudeau called an election when he shouldn't have in the fourth wave with crisis in Afghanistan, forest fires. So he's putting himself first. We submitted it immediately, and we said at the time we're going to have his numbers to verify our plan. But for Mr. Trudeau to be complaining about that, he released no plan. He released some numbers from the budget, Like it took 2 years.
The budget will balance itself, according to
Trudeau. In the history of our democracy without a budget.
He said that. He said a bunch of shit else too in front of it, but he said
$1 trillion worth of debt on the backs of our kids. So we've got a plan to tackle that, to get the country working, and to focus increased spending on things like healthcare, mental health, and addiction treatment. So
yeah, we need mental helmets. You're right.
Since I left the military, getting people help for mental health issues, for mental injuries. We've got to treat mental health as health, and that will be an important area of priority for me.
Mental injuries.
It's predicated on 3% annual growth in GDP. Now, this is the interesting thing, because most economists,
you're not going to have a choice but to take every problem you have and go to the government and say, I'm totally mentally ill, in order to get to UBI, or whatever they're going to call it.
Well, because
Canada will have like the highest rate of mental illness in the world, and they won't know why.
All sectors of the economy. So we want to get the energy sector back. We think they're net zero by 2050 plans. We can be a world leader in energy that's less carbon intense. We can meet our targets. But whether it's natural resources, whether it's better deals on steel and aluminum, Mr. Trudeau let down the steel workers in Hamilton, for example, when they were tariffed. We want every sector working, and we launched an amazing innovation plan to allow more patents to be developed here. So we want the sort of new economy and the traditional economy to both be firing. And we have ambitious targets, but we know there's a lot of money on the sidelines, John. There's a lot of investment that wants to return to Canada if there's a government that wants to see a growing economy, and that's going to be our relentless pursuit. Jobs, the economy, fighting inflation, and making sure Canadians get ahead.
What about the competition for jobs, too? A lot of people cite immigration as being a boon to the economy, yet conversely, some see it as a threat to, a competition for jobs. What do you think our immigration levels ought to be? Under the Conservatives, I think Mr. Mendocino was talking about something like 400,000 on an annual basis once we're getting through COVID. Where do you see it?
Well, immigration is critical for our economic recovery, and we need more immigration to secure our social programs. We don't have a replacement birth rate, John, so we need immigration. Yeah, what we need it to be is faster and smarter. So there's a huge backlog in family reunification. We need to fix that, speed that up. We also need to make sure that skills accreditation are fixed before people even get here, because we know the stories in the GTA of the doctor who's driving a cab or Uber, or someone being underemployed. Not only is that unfair to them, it is less productive for our economy. So even before the election was launched, I said we're going to have
where I know the doctor's not worth shit.
On credential recognition. So we're very pro-immigration, but we have to speed up some of the backlogs in reuniting families and really accelerate the economic.
Now, how does he propose to do this?
And it needs to also be outside of just Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. We need to work with provinces like Atlantic Canada, where the population is going down. We need smarter programs into parts of the country where we actually see population decline. We need to be really smart, because I think Canada can really benefit from a modern, accelerated approach to immigration.
And finally, you mentioned Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. The major urban centers are where this vote is going to be decided by all accounts. So give me a final analysis of why you think the GTA ought to vote Conservative. I mean, it's been fortress Liberal, all 25 seats for the most part. How do you change that calculus there?
Check those hashtags.
Well, I'm a kid from the GTA. Grew up, as we were saying, played hockey in Bowmanville, grew up. That's my sensibilities, is we need to have communities that are strong based on people working, helping those who are less fortunate. And I'm a new leader with the new approach. I'm growing the Conservative Party. I want us to be the party for more new Canadians, more women, members from the LGBTQ community. I've been trying to reach out to say, hey, let's get our country back on track. Let's get the country working. Let's tackle inequalities. Let's fight climate change with a prime minister that will be about delivering, not announcing. We've got one who announces a lot of things, John. He never delivers. My background, the military, the private sector, as a minister, as a volunteer, and as a dad, I bring together a team, put a plan together, and deliver. And that's what I'll do for the GTA. And hey, it would be great to have our first prime minister ever from the GTA, I think.
I hadn't considered that. Well, we'll wait and see. Obviously, it's not too long from now, 13 days out. Good luck going forward. And with the debate on Thursday night, we'll be paying rapt attention to all of that. Aaron O'Toole, good for you to share some time with us this afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Look forward to coming back.
You got it. Aaron O'Toole, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Well, when we come back, thoughts, if you will, by way of follow-up. My understanding is we were off the air for a minute or so because of an overrun by an amber alert for a tornado warning in southern Ontario. That's never a good sign, but we were told the weather's coming through. By the way, Justin Trudeau, is he on the right side of the issue of compelled vaccinations? Because that's where he has planted his flag firmly. It seems like he's trying to place this as a wedge issue. Will it be a winning strategy? Yes, no. Time for some calls, and we'll get to the panel. 870-6400. 870-6400 from out of town. 888-225-TALK. Let's get back out to the roads right now and a check of chopper traffic. Jackie King.
Thanks, John. Well, we do.
Be opened at the 403. It's still slow through that area. You can take Trafalgar up to Burnhamthorpe as an alternate, and eastbound Eastern at Logan.
Oh, so the birth rate is 1.6, and Toronto hands over $10 billion every year in GST to the federal government that we don't give back. And I don't remember what the total amount is. So they don't want foreigners buying houses here, but they're not racist.
It's really all of Grey County, southern Bruce, and then northern Wellington County, including Mount Forest, under a tornado warning. Lots of rotation, up to Toonie-sized hail possible. And as these storms move towards the GTA, we're under a severe thunderstorm watch.
I don't have a Toonie.
If we get upgraded to a warning, that's what I'm going to say and head indoors. And it's going to be very strong winds as they come through this evening. Still some more storms overnight, and then by tomorrow morning we'll taper that off. 26 degrees and partly cloudy. A couple of pop-up showers and storms possible in the afternoon, but they're not expected to be severe like what we're seeing now. And then Thursday, most of the day is dry. A couple of showers in the afternoon and 23 degrees. Tonight down to 18 degrees for the low. It's currently 25 degrees at Pearson.
Coming up the bottom of the hour, we have our eyes on the skies. Severe thunderstorm watch out for the GTHA. There are tornado warnings for some parts of Ontario, and as students return to the classroom, Ontario's CMOH says that schools remain a low-risk environment for the spread. This is 680 News.
Lightning, one of nature's most powerful forces. And now, OLG has taken lightning and turned it into a lottery. We call it lightning.
6-8. It's our vote.
Our announcer from Global News. As people begin to go back to the office and our kids return.
Dans ce les États étaient-ils au moment où...
Parler de leurs amis, des maîtresses avec lesquelles ils sont maintenant. Ils étaient vraiment contents de retourner à l'école. Ils étaient vraiment contents. Donc quand je leur ai dit on rentre à la maison et demain on retourne à l'école, normalement, on va le faire, on ne peut pas retourner à l'école, mais là cette fois-ci ils étaient vraiment contents. Je pense que je ne vais pas les entendre me dire qu'ils ne veulent pas aller à l'école pendant longtemps.
Mis à part que les enfants puissent continuer l'apprentissage en présentiel, quels sont vos souhaits pour la nouvelle année scolaire qui commence aujourd'hui?
J'espère vraiment.
They're not going to tell us the numbers. They're not going to tell us. Toonie-sized sale. It is wrong.
Your doctor says your depression is treatment resistant, and now your insurance company denies your long-term disability claim.
That's why I need such a high prescription amount on my marijuana card.